Hey guys, back again with 2009's Invitation Only, Taiwan's first slasher movie. That's the tagline of this movie. And the movie's not bad. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad. It stars Brian Chang, Jerry Huang, Julianne Maria Ozawa, Joseph Ma, Vivi Ho, Kei Yun Shun, Christian Brody, and guest appearance by Liz. Her name's just Liz, so it could be any Liz. Liz up the road, Liz back, but you know, or whatever. Anyway, so the film starts out like this. There's the case. As you can see, it's a Taiwan Blu-ray. Yes, right, look inside. Ooh, yeah. So basically, the film goes something like this. At the beginning, there's a woman in a red dress in a restroom or bathroom, wherever you are, public place, you know, because they're called different things in different places. So she's basically sorting out her makeup and stuff, and she sees a bag on the side. She hears noises, but she can't help herself from looking in the bag. So it's a red bag, so she knocks it on purposely on the floor, just to notice, but a head and a hand roll out, and she's like, ah! And then the killer in the white mask, and there goes Invitation Only. That's the intro. I liked it. It was quite stylish. So then basically we meet Brian Chang, who is Wade Chun. Basically he's a high school dropout working for a rich guy as his driver, basically. And what happens is he has this fascination with Dana, who's basically a model. You'll see pictures on the you know, like posters up in the buildings. And who is Dana played by? None other than porn star Maria Ozawa. So basically, he picks up a couple of her magazines with her in, you know, like posing and stuff. And he actually bumps into her. What are the chances of that? She offers him a napkin and so forth, or tissue, or whatever. And she sees him, she smiles at him. That's it. Then basically walks to his car one day to drive his boss, I guess. And none other than is Mr. Chang, his boss, having it off with Dana Maria Ozawa in the back seat of the car. So basically he's caught him having sex with Dana. So then basically Mr. Yang says to him, you can go home yourself, don't worry about your keys and wallet, you can pick them up tomorrow. And that's when I think to myself, well, how does Wade get in his home? How does he afford to get anything till tomorrow? Does he sleep on the streets that day? So then basically he's driving his boss another day, and he says to him, ooh, hold on, sorry. He says to him, would you like to go to my place, basically, to a party? Because I can't make it, and you can go to my place. And, well, Wade is like, well, I haven't got no money, I haven't got the clothes. And he says, basically, contact your manager, and he'll give you the clothes and the money. So, next thing you know, he's at the party, walking in. And he meets a few people, flirts with a few people, you know, the usual stuff, like, ooh, 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 right? Does that. Has a dance with Maria Ozawa as Dana. For some reason, she's there. Because on the cards, on the birthday cards, it goes, tell us what you wish for and you'll receive it. And I thought to myself, oh, he's wished to have sex with her, because what man wouldn't? But no. He probably wanted a certain car. And basically, he's getting to know the characters, you know, he meets Hitomi, who's a really nice woman, played by Julianne Chu. And basically, he then goes on the betting table, roulette. And he goes, I ain't got no money. And the bloke went, oh, Mr. Yang called ahead and you've got 20 million. And well, Wade's like, hey, and he's having a party. He's winning. He's got Dana there beside him going, woohoo, and all this. And they're really having a party. And you're like, oh, yeah, when's it going to come? When's the badness going to come? So he's having a party. And he's, you know, in the party. He's enjoying himself. He's like, woo, I feel like a rich man, you know. And then basically you meet Warren. Warren, who He's a white man. I'm guessing he could be American. Played by Christian Brody. There was nothing about him on his on IMDb because I looked to see where he was from. But there's nothing about him. He only starred in Invitation Only, so he obviously wasn't a good actor, was he? And he basically introduced himself and introduced about how basically they've come together again and it's great and they want to give people what they wish for and stuff like this. And then you meet all 5 people, the new people. One's Wade, one's Hitomi, and then you got a pianist. I think it's a gangster, and I can't remember. And the other woman was like a nurse. But they were all pretending to be something they weren't. Basically, like Wade was pretending to be rich, and the others were pretending to be rich, and they weren't. They were just going there because their bosses had given them the things and said, "Take my place," basically. So they're all getting the thing, and they're all like, eh. And then later on, they get taken out back, and Wade gets his fancy car we wished for on the VIP thing, and basically the pianist guy gets taken away, and then all of a sudden it shows what they're really like. Like the nurse has sex with her old colleague, like not old colleague, an old person she's caring for. Hitomi works in a beautician place, and it shows Wade talking to his boss about how he can take his place and stuff. And the guy who's supposed to be a politician, he's, I'm guessing, a gangster, I'm guessing, because he had a gun on him. So they'll get a bit freaked out, and then what happens is you see the pianist bloke killed. He's dead, like. And then that's when you get basically them running around, and you get some of them getting killed off pretty soon. Like 2 of them get injured, and then basically it goes in hostile mode, where basically they take one at a time onto the stage in front of these rich people, and they torture them by putting things on their face, by putting jump leads on the guy's nuts. That was a favourite of mine, where they connect it to like the penis bit in the pants, and it ends up going all brown and goes. Bleh. I enjoyed that bit. And then there's another one with the other woman, the nurse, where she gets this stuff on her face, like acid stuff that burns in her face, and it gets stapled in her head, and fun. But the film, the first 45 minutes are quite interesting because you just really like it, you know. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's pretty well filmed and well done. There's a lot of cheesy kind of cheapness to it as well. But once you get to the second half, you start thinking to yourself, oh, when's it getting to the ending? Because Mr. Yang turns up, and it turns out he's a part of this group, and it turns out that him and Warren are friends, and they both run this place. And you sit there thinking to yourself, why didn't they leave Mr. Yang to near the end? So that it could have been a shocker, but it wasn't shocking when he turned up. Do you know what I mean? Like when the bloke's being tortured, he takes the mask off and it's him, and you're like, this isn't shocking. If he'd have turned up in the car or something when they got outside and then shot one of them or something, that would have been shocking. But no, so that was a bit disappointing. So carrying on, basically then. Hitomi, basically played by Julian Chu, she somehow gets away from Warren and ends up changing her clothes and sitting in the audience. She then tries to get out the door when it's free, but you need a key card. And then her boss turns up and goes, oh, Hitomi, and she goes, oh, Mrs. Huang, or whatever her name is. Her boss, that is. And do you know why her boss sent her there? Because apparently she'd been gossiping about her. So gossiping about someone means you need to be tortured and killed in front of people, rich people, because of gossip. That was ridiculous. I couldn't stand that. I thought it was one of the most stupidest reasons possible. Especially considering Mr. Yang tells his story about when he was 5. Him and his sister got kidnapped. And his sister got killed, and they recorded it, and they basically held ransom for him from his family and made him do other things. and how the police don't do anything so they can do their own justice. Well, what's that got to do with a woman getting a woman and a boss getting an employee basically chased and trying to get her tortured and killed because of gossip? That's a lot different to being held for ransom. So I'm sitting there going, what? Then basically all of a sudden Wade jumps out of the box because he hid in the box when he got away from Yang, Mr. Yang. And he's got a shotgun now that was on top of the box. How the hell he got out of the box and got the gun off the top of the box without him seeing? It's crazy because it's a wooden box. It's like, So then basically he gets the key card. He says to Warren, I want to take her with us. And he goes, sure. And he slits her throat, which was quite cool and wicked. And basically run out. They get in the car and there's this big massive chase scene. Warren and Mr. Yang chase them. He's in this big sports car. They're in like a truck. I'm guessing, they're in a truck which wouldn't be able to keep up with it. But somehow they keep up with it and they don't even lose them. What seems to happen in this movie is they seem to keep driving down a straight line. And when they turn, they don't turn like woo to try and get away. They just go straight turn, straight turn, straight turn. So it's obvious where they are. So Wade and Hitomi basically pull over to a policeman. They try telling him what's happening, but they see the shotgun that Wade had. He goes, get out of the car, get out of the car. But you don't see that. After that, you see Warren and Mr. Yang turn up, and basically they just shoot the policeman. They shoot Hitomi in the foot, and basically Warren beats Wade up. But Mr. Yang takes Hitomi with him, and Warren puts him in the back of the truck, handcuffed, for everybody to see, right? But what we need to remember is Wade, halfway through the movie, got a big knife in his shoulder, yet he can still do a lot of fighting, right? He can still do a lot of movement. It's a big knife that's been in there. He's bleeding out, but he hasn't gone pale yet. He's fine, right? So basically, in the back of the car, in the back of the truck, Warren's driving it, and Wade is like, he's got like his plier things trying to open it. And Warren says, oh, there's more tools in the back than that. You can do better than that. You see, Wade, people like you don't get anything, and people like me get everything. Do you really think the policeman was going to believe you? And you're sitting there going, these guys are really stuck up themselves. So what does Wade do? He rips his thumb off. So he rips his thumb so he can get at the handcuffs. Warren pulls over. Wade hits him in the head with a hammer about 8 times, and Warren's dead. Now, they go on about how people like Warren, not people like Warren, people like Wade, and that are scum because they're low life, because they're not rich, and that they're dangerous. But what I think the story of this movie really is that if you're pushed to it, you can become that, even if you weren't. Because Wade's not a bad person. It's just like everybody else. When you feel like you're a loser and you've got nothing going for you. That's all it is. I think we've all felt that way at some point in our life, especially when we're young. And basically, they've driven to kill him. Basically, so he would never kill anyone because he was a nice bloke, a nice shy bloke with some anxiety issues, and was a bit, self-esteem. And he ends up killing Warren because Warren would have killed him otherwise. There's a great bit where after he hits Warren the last time, a chunk of his face comes off and you see like teeth there, which is pretty cool. I like that. That was a great special effect. So then what does Wade do? He doesn't go and get help. He drives back to the place they escaped. He kills the bloke. He then pushes a trolley of dead people, and all of a sudden someone grabs hold of one of the guards, and the bloke looks at him, and basically Wade shoots him in the stomach, kills him. So then there's this big fight between him and Yang. Well, everybody's still waiting to see what happens. Like, who's next? People are still waiting in the whole thing, waiting for the next victim. So we're sitting there. So they're sitting there, and basically Yang and him getting in a fight, and Yang stabs Hitomi in the stomach, pulls it out, goes for Wade, and then basically she puts a knife in his back, and basically he finishes him off, basically. and basically Yang dies. Wade then basically grabs hold of Hitomi and says, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay." Drives her in the car. She goes like this. He looks at her. You get upset, and then basically it shows a year later where he's working in a car place. He gets in a car, which I'm guessing is his car, or it could be the two women's car because it looks similar to the car he had that he was given. So I wasn't sure about this. And what does he find? An invitation only slip. And he goes mental. He's just like, oh, oh no. And that's the end. Now, the film was good, but it wasn't. There was a lot of good filming, but when they were running, there was a lot of jittering camera work, and it screamed amateurish to me. You know, it's like when you watch those people when they go in the woods and they're noise and they're running and it's all over the place. As nice as that is, as alright as that is, it's still distracting. Warren, the guy who played Warren, Christian Brody, was a terrible actor. I don't even know why they had him in there. I think it was just to kind of show international thing of the, you know, the killers basically. None of the characters were that great. I mean, Brian Chang was all right. Brian Chang was actually pretty good. Julianne Chu, they were the two standouts for me. The guy who played, what was his name? Jerry Huang, who played President Yang, Mr. Yang. He was all right, but he was the type of person you wouldn't expect to say much because he looked like he could just pull it off just by walking along. And I'd like to have seen more of just that, really. Maria Roswell was in it for like 20 minutes. She basically sleeps with Wade, and then gets killed. And Warren, not Warren, Mr. Yang says to Wade, "See, you shouldn't have slept with my girlfriend," and all that stuff. And you're just like, yeah, you're like, this isn't really impressive, you know. The movie itself is like an hour and 35 minutes. And you get bored after about 45 to it gets to about the hour and 20-minute mark. So you get bored for about 30 minutes because nothing really happens other than being chased about. But the film is worth watching. If it's truly Taiwan's first slasher movie, they did a good job. I've seen far worse. It does scream cheap at times, but at the same time, it's got some unique things to it. Because all I kept thinking when they pulled the pill on the stage to do things to was Hostel 3. So, because Hostel 3 does that, you know, where they're like on the stage thing. But yeah, overall, I thought Invitation Only was a fairly decent slasher flick. It could have been a lot better, and it could have been a lot worse. I think the best part is when Wade chops off Mr. Yang's head with an axe. That's the best bit. Because there's that part where Mr. Yang looks at him like, no, no, and he's driven him to do it. So it's kind of like, you're getting what you deserve, asshole, you know what I mean? And I kind of like that, because it's basically showing that sometimes we judge people wrongly, and then it comes and bites us in the bum, basically. So yeah, I recommend giving Invitation Only a go. I give it 3.5 stars, because it's not fantastic, but it's fairly decent. It's got a good cast. Brian Chang, Julianne Chu, and Maria Ozu always brings it up by at least a 0.5 because of her beauty. So yeah, I recommend giving this a go. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but you could do a lot worse than Invitation Only. So give it a go. I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Let me know what you think of the movie down below, and thanks for watching. Bye.